I've got a lot to cover. 2 days before Halloween here, the 1029 edition of Your Money Radio with Danny Stewart. Let's see, Alex Koutoudis, Hunter Mozingo, Don Vandenbord here with you. We are live. Whenever you're listening to us, we are live with you because our information is always relevant. That's the whole purpose of the show, making the show consistently relevant for the listener. And so we like to think about we're giving you things that are most likely going to be actionable in the coming week. But I digress for just a minute here with our esteemed producer, Zach. By the way, if you want a podcast produced, no matter where you are in the world, whether you're in Australia, New Zealand, Azerbaijan, Zach can produce a podcast. Let me tell you what, Zach is a pure professional. I'm going to throw, I really enjoy working with you. I'm going to throw you off here. So you're not going to be able to hear the sound coming from my computer because something's not working right with the wiring. But Danny is the Michael Scott of office managers at times. Okay, and I say that affectionately. He is now consumed. I just saw. She just walked in with a script. So Danny wants us to record voicemail messages, right? And I can only imagine how many phone calls Danny has made this week about voicemail messages and how many script versions have you gone through?
One.
That's not true. That is not that. I don't believe that.
One for me and one for Meryl, and she records it.
Meryl came in with the script, and I said, Meryl, how many times?
2 pages, one for each of us.
It's a 2-page voicemail messaging script. Let me just throw that out there. And all it is, and I said, Meryl, what is it? And she's like, it's this. Hold on, let me see if I can get it to play.
So he doesn't get it going.
No, hold on.
He can do it.
I can do it. I'm very adept at all this stuff. Give me a second.
Stand by.
Oh, you can't see it.
That's like from the 40s, man. 50s.
Have you ever heard this?
What is this?
It's from the 80s.
Give someone the gift of gab for their answering machine.
And a friend. What you've actually done is bought a one-way ticket to the answering machine, son.
Nobody's home.
This is the one I want.
Nobody's
Nobody's home. That's pretty good.
Oh gosh,
Crazy calls.
crazy
call.
Yeah, for $14.95, you could have this play. You ever heard this?
No.
You'd be better off with this. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Is that $14.95 one-time purchase?
Yeah, inflation adjusted. I think that's like a $40 tape.
Nowadays, that'd be a subscription.
Like,
you'd have to pay monthly.
I'm fairly certain for $14.95 that is an inflation adjusted tape.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? But we will talk. So Danny wanted to record all these voicemail messages with Zach. He called Zach this morning in a panic. I can only imagine. Like excited.
A panic.
No, it was a panic.
Was it excited?
He was pretty pleasant. Yeah.
Was he excited?
He was ready to get it done.
Yeah.
I feel bad. I wish I had more time today to produce them, but we'll get them done. It'll happen. It'll be great.
They're going to be great.
They're going to be great.
So Danny, I want everybody we're going to do this next week, right? We're going to record the voicemails.
Well, I was hoping we'd do it today, but apparently we're doing it
next. We're going to do Wednesday of next week.
Because we're actually doing the show a little early next Wednesday.
That is 1,000%. So I want everybody in the sound of my voice to call us 855-REAL-WEALTH and just listen to whatever.
Well, don't do it yet because we haven't got it.
You didn't let me finish. We just covered that, and we're going to do.
Go ahead. They'll call, and who will they hear?
They're going to hear Danny. I hope they hear Danny. Danny is
they got to get that adjusted. That's why I wanted. That's why it was timely.
Well, yes. After we get it done and get it uploaded, they'll hear.
We're building hype.
Yes, we're building hype for the phone mail message. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Speaking of hype, listen, there's a lot here. I want to talk. I've got a lot to cover with what's going on in the economy. We're going to talk about markets here, and there's something that is happening right now. That's spooky, right? You see how I worked that in there? Okay. And we'll get to that. That'll probably.
See if I got a sound effect for that. I don't think I do.
You got one on there for
the
that?
hokiness of the show as I try to keep it moving along. I killed the show at the beginning. I'm gonna own it.
No, it's a Halloween show.
Oh, it's a
You can do it on a Halloween show.
I can get away with that?
Yeah. It's like a seasonal special.
Wait till the turkey jokes
That's
come flying
right.
in a month.
Oh, yeah.
So,
You know what I haven't heard on the radio driving around is the monster. Normally, they always play
the
that
Monster Mash?
Mash.
No, Monster
all the
Mash?
man,
time.
I'm a little disappointed. You know what? By the way,
I heard it.
so Remy and I, we have a rotation of music when I take the kids to daycare. The rotation goes, I want to hear, please, Sweet Caroline, Kiss on My List, and then Blippy songs. Like
Solid.
it goes from 80s.
Yeah.
Well, what's Sweet Caroline? 70s.
Yeah.
It goes Neil Diamond,
Yep.
as we covered in other shows, the greatest Christmas singer ever, right? Neil Diamond.
Sure is.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole again.
Okay, we've
Please.
covered this. Then it goes Hall & Oates, Kiss on My List. By the way, you can't get him in any other Hall & Oates song. Just Kiss on My List.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's but so I said because it's coming up to Halloween, so I played him. It's Boris. Boris, I don't remember his last name. Boris something.
Carlos?
No, it's Boris and the Deadheads or Boris. Look, can someone Google it for me?
Boris and the Dead.
It's not Boris and the
Boris and the
Deadheads.
Deadheads.
It's like Boris in the Crips, Boris and the Dead
Boris
People.
and the Crips.
Maybe it's Boris and the Bloods. It's something like that. And so it's close. I play it for him, and it's a joyful Monster Mash song, right? And he goes, but he'll follow it up with for 3 days. I play him the Monster Mash, and he goes, I didn't like that, too scary. And so for a week, because Remy is the Sheldon Cooper of kids, Remy is very
Active.
regimented.
Regimented.
Yes, regimented is a better word. Yeah, and so and I celebrate his regimentation, and so
Regimentation?
Regimentation.
Is that a word, Don? Regimentation?
Regimentation.
That's approved.
It's approved.
That's approved?
Yeah,
Really?
it's on the approved
Good
word
to
list.
pass?
Yeah, it's on Grammarly.
Pull some
And
words
so,
out of your
out of my Monster Mash.
Somebody play that in Scrabble.
And so, by the way, speaking of pulling something out of my hat, I saw The Greatest Pumpkin on
Charlie Brown?
No,
Did
it
you
was
take a
on
picture?
it was on the internet.
Picture?
It was okay, so somebody had painted on 2 hands onto the pumpkin. Okay, if you can picture this, I'm not going to show it to you. Picture it with 2 hands. They rolled over, pulled the stem, put a pair of underwear where
I'm afraid where this is going.
over the
I'm afraid
stem,
where this is
This was
going.
on, this. I think
You
this
have
was
a
on
mood?
Reddit yesterday. I think
Yes.
I know what you're talking about.
Do you have a moot button?
and then
Mute
it's
button? I
mute,
do.
not a moot. The point is moot. You want me to mute?
I want a mute button to make him moot.
I swear to God, he said mute.
It's. I could not show that picture.
Yeah, you can't show
No.
this picture, but it's pulling. It's made to look like someone's butt cheeks, 2 hands pulling back the underwear where the stem would. Picture it?
No,
Oh,
didn't want to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's hilarious. So anyway, now that I've painted that picture, they say the best part about radio is painting a mental picture for the audience.
They do so.
I
Theater of
think-
the mind.
I think. Oh, that is some good.
Yeah.
Anyway, who is Boris? It's Boris. Who sings the Monster Mash?
I
Did
couldn't-
anybody look it up?
Yeah, I tried. I found when you Google Boris and you get a
No, just
ton
Google
of
who sings the
potential
Monster Mash.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, that's just that. Anyway, so you can't play the Monster Mash in the car because he'll go, I want to hear Sweet Caroline. I want to hear Kiss on My List, Blippy songs, no Monster Mash. He'll end it with what he doesn't want. And I find that interesting because I haven't played the Monster Mash in 10 days.
Bobby Pickett.
And
Bobby, nicknamed Boris Pickett. Oh my god.
Boris Pickett and who?
I don't know. That's all I got right now.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna when Danny talks, I'm gonna look it up on my phone because it tells you on the Amazon Music app. Which, by
You
the
mean
way,
you're not going to be paying attention to me? You're doing something else?
Bobby Boris Pickett and the
Same
Crypt
as the rest of
Kickers.
us.
the Crypt Kickers.
Oh my
That's
god.
what it is. The Crypt Kickers.
Crypt Kickers.
Get to the stocks,
No
Tim.
wonder you didn't remember that. Yeah.
Okay, let's do that. I hear the palpitations from the one person who emails me hate mail. So listen, let's do this. Only one person. Danny.
Well, there's more than one. I just got to forward them to you.
Right. Those are the ones that get to you.
I'm protecting your sensitive feelings. I'm not sending them. We've got a whole email folder.
pile of people that hate you, Tim. Some of them might forward to the FBI. They're so bad. Okay, here we go.
Tim's hate mail.
Let me tell you something. I as Americans right now, as if anyone who is a payer of taxes in this country, I think you should be alarmed. And look, this is just from today's Times of Journal's Times. Biden's spending plan: 3.5 trillion to 1.85 trillion. Okay,
But it doesn't cost anything. It's free, Tim.
that's not where I was going. When I need help, I'll ask. And so if you've not paid attention to Danny, we are on the cutting edge here in this show all the time.
Mhm.
So September jobs report came out, and it big miss. Everyone knows that. And my first thought after a few minutes of contemplation was, this is going to screw GDP. And
Yes.
we talked about it on the show, and I hadn't seen any of that analysis. And then I kind of lost sight of GDP because I knew it was coming out this week, but I didn't realize what the estimates were.
Just a bit outside.
The GDP estimates, and if you remember, like we were growing gangbusters, and we were going to be like
7%?
something like that.
And on which idiot economist you ask?
Yes. And so the estimate was only like for 2.8, 2.9%.
No. It came out at
No, it was lower.
Oh, you mean the estimate was revised downward?
No, I said
You're talking about the real GDP number?
The estimate was for 2.8. It came out at 2.
Okay.
Yeah, you didn't let.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I didn't want to confuse the audience. Originally, they were talking about 6,
Yeah.
and they've been revising it downward.
Right. Yeah.
They
so
realized
the estimate,
it wasn't going to come true.
The estimate for this week was only for 2.8, 2.9. My gosh. And you couldn't even hit the estimate.
After you revised it downward.
And to think that you're going to blame all of this on supply chain is ridiculous. It's not. I can't, you can't make, like we had this talk when Trump came in office. This is 4 years ago. Like with all the, whatever you feel about immigration. Okay. It wasn't an immigration talk. It was, there's not enough people to make GDP. Like if you limit the inflow of people into this country, you actually limit workers. And workers, go figure, Daniel, workers, people that go to work and perform functions actually make up part of the GDP. Mm-hmm. And you can't have it if you limit them and you aren't going to get enough in.
Well, you know, the story now though is that the reason people are quitting jobs is because there's so many good high-paying jobs that they're quitting because they're confident they'll find another job. The problem is new job creations wasn't
right.
big.
And so now work is the problem. It's work, and workers. And there's been a great readjustment going on in this country right now. And it is absolutely inflationary and not the good kind. And this GDP issue is a problem, okay? Mm-hmm. Because if it continues to trend this low, I want you to think about what we just did. We printed more money. I believe, if I don't have this right, I'm going to just tell you right now, I'm in the ballpark. We printed more money in the last year than the last 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? I want you to let that sink in. What's that, Alex?
Like more, like all together, or just
yes,
by year?
like more dollars. Like they just got the that was really good.
It was a fat finger digital trade.
Thank you. Yes, it was a big printing press. So we printed more money in the last 20 years. In the last year than the last 20 years.
Combined.
Wow.
Combined?
It's a big deal. It's a
I gotta go read about this.
It's a big deal. And we only have 2% GDP.
Have you seen what Atlanta GDP is now saying that the next
I haven't.
likely number is going to be?
What's that?
0.2.
0.2.
0.2, not 2.
We've injected more money in the last year than the last 20 years into this economy, and all we could get was an estimated 2% GDP.
Well, growth is slowing. That's the so that just shows you that you can't replace real growth with printing.
And this right here, we just injected more money in the last year than the last 20 years, and there's still a need. And I say that with a question mark. There's still a need for another $1.85 trillion to get what? What is the? I don't. Whatever it's for. I'm not arguing policy. Is it going to make the economy robust? That's a yes.
That's excluding the infrastructure bill. That's just the Build Back Better bill.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Now, that's the kind of clarity I need right now, because that is a really big distinction, Don.
That was economic wizard Don Vandenbord. Those new commercial
okay,
show.
the screenshot is Don in a wizard's hat with some kind of economics thing, maybe a chalkboard.
The globe circling.
Every week it's more colorful.
Yeah, I'm thinking hold on a second. I'm thinking like a professor, like a blackboard in an academic setting, but a wizard's hat. Right?
A Harry Potter wizard suit.
Yes, thank
Harry
you.
Potter wizard
Yes,
suit.
it's Don talking to a class at a university.
We can have the Quidditch trophy.
Oh, thank you. We have produced this show.
welcome.
Well done.
Just end it.
I've read all the books. I love that kind of stuff.
Just end it.
All right, we're done. Good
We're
night.
done.
Happy
That's it.
Thanksgiving. Be
Thanks,
safe.
guys.
Yeah, it's Halloween.
Halloween. What did I say? Happy Thanksgiving.
That's all right.
That's right. I'm a month ahead. I'm always ahead.
That's right. Always thinking 1 month ahead.
Always ahead.
Old Dan Stewart.
Yep, old Dan Stewart, always a month ahead.
Oh, I'm early.
That's what she said. And so, I'm choking on my own joke there.
Recovery. You got it.
Yeah. So listen, all of this isn't getting us a more robust economy, and this is the problem, stock nerds and market lovers. And so, what's super interesting here is this. Let me bring something up for you. This is the new, and where this is going to lead. I don't want to bury the lead. This is going to end up in a tax discussion that is going to be the most interesting thing you listen to this weekend, other than Boris and the Crypt Kickers. This is going to be something really interesting. So, supply chain surcharge, Sherwin-Williams is latest at a sneaky fee. So, if you go to a Sherwin-Williams store, okay, you're going to go to a Sherwin-Williams store and you're going to buy paint. There's not they haven't just increased the price. So, they're going to keep the price, whatever it is, on the shelves, okay? But when you go to the register, there's a surcharge at the end. I've been sitting on this story.
They're just doing that to blame somebody else.
I've been sitting on this story for like 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, probably 2 weeks. When this will, you listen to me now, stock nerds. This surcharge is the new norm. Anyone who's going out to look for a vehicle on Kias right now, there's an average when you go, like, you look at the sticker, like in everyone, Danny says, you don't pay sticker, right? Now, the new mantra is don't pay over MSRP. Do you remember MSRP used to be like nobody paid MSRP. You negotiate down. That's how we do cars. And it's the most backwards thing, I think, in the world. Like how we buy cars, right? Like it's just not a price. Like slippery slope of negotiations. And so it's an average of a $10,000 markup. There's a Mercedes dealer here in North Texas that on the wagon, the militaristic kind of wagon that they make.
Square box.
Yeah, square box thing. I think it's like a G series.
G-Wagon.
G-Wagon,
Yeah.
thank you. It's about $125,000 dealer adjusted markup. That's on the obscene side. He is on the lower side. These fees are never going away. Don't believe me. Let me just direct you to.
Well, not until we have a really good recession. At some point, it'll go away.
Oh no,
It's gonna
no!
happen.
I disagree with you here, and I don't. I'm not joking.
The airline baggage fees after
Thank you.
9/11.
It's going to get worse if we have a
Oh,
recession.
it's definitely going to get worse.
So if you want to see what I'm talking about, here's the Sherwin-Williams article right here. Gas surcharges, when I came on board here at Revere with Annie in 2014, that's when you started seeing gas surcharges with shipping. And then you got into a taxi cab. And then it was like in New York City, it's like your fare and then the surcharge for gas. And then gas, like after
Came
gas
down,
broke,
yeah.
severely came down when we started, exploiting our technology to be energy independent. But they were still they still charge.
But you weren't in a recession yet. That's the problem.
They still charge them. But what fee, Daniel, was born out of a recession combined with high oil prices? Baggage fees, airline baggage fees.
Oh, yeah.
In 2008, and you're still paying these. You're not. The new norm in this country now is you wait. I took my wife's Honda in to get serviced, okay? And I looked on the bill and it said shop material fees. And I looked at the dude and I said, dude, there's no way I'm paying. Whatever the shop material fees are in the fee that you charged me for the oil change and whatever else I had done. Why is this? Who's paying this additional fee? And he goes, yeah, I'll take it. Like literally, just fold it. I'll take it off. Like, and I'm like, and I just looked at him. I said, this is ridiculous. I literally didn't pressure you. I said, who's paying this fee? And you folded because you knew what was coming. He goes, yeah, people are pretty pissed. And I said, but some are paying it. He goes, yeah, they don't know. And right now we're in a beta test phase,
right,
for this new, what I'll refer to it as unaffectionately as a value-added tax. The value-added tax to everyday things in life. They won't increase the price because that would be a sign that we really do have inflation, and it costs a ton to pay somebody to mix up some paint.
Well, I think that just highlights inflation. Well, the surcharge is highlighting the problem with the cost, and they're charging a higher price to cover their cost, but they want to blame it on something else, so you don't blame it on them.
Well, yeah, that's why they keep
itemized.
Hey, our prices are low.
Yeah.
But it's like when the government balked at the way Southwest a few years ago priced their flights. Hey, you want to know what it used to be just one all-inclusive price, with taxes.
They put the handling fee, they put the government fees in there. Because people don't realize you're buying $30, $40 worth of just taxes to fly.
Yeah, and they need to do that.
I agree.
And so people balked, it wasn't people, it was certain political figures balked at what Southwest was doing because no other airline was breaking it out. Like they try to hide it.
Or just like payroll tax, you should have to pay your own payroll taxes, write a check every 2 weeks, not have it taken out of your check. So it's just like the car dealer where some people don't gripe a bitch. They don't look at it. So people get their paycheck and they just get used to that less net number than writing a check.
It's a slippery slope.
I can't be the only one that noticed that dealer adjusted markup is an acronym for damn you.
You are the only one, and on the chalkboard, Zach, behind Professor Professor Vandenbord, Wizard Vandenbord. Could you just put the damn you acronym on the chalkboard?
I'll put that on YouTube for sure.
Yeah.
If you put
Here, I'll post for you
now
now for the picture too, Zach.
Please do, would you? Yes, thank you. Move your thumb in a little bit.
There you go.
Great. Yep. Thank you. Got it.
All right.
Perfect. Thank you.
So
I'll make it easier.
That's funny. So these things it's a slippery slope. They never go away. The private sector does it all the time, and you're not aware of it as much if you don't fly. Of course, if you don't fly, right? But anybody who pumps a gallon of gas in this country to get anywhere should be offended with how bad their roads are and how much they're paying in gasoline tax. Because those are
that gasoline tax is supposed to pay for the roads, right?
That's supposed to be the fairest way to tax people, which is a use tax
for the roads.
Yeah.
And they diverted all that money. They did not put the money back into the roads like they were supposed to.
Right. And so I've heard a lot of people say, well, instead of just taxing blanketedly, that is certainly not the way you do that word. If you, instead of just this grotesque billionaires tax, right? Because look, these people are I don't know how many trust fund billionaire babies there are. Maybe there's some, right? I don't begrudge anybody who makes money. I'm happy for people, whatever.
We're spending so much money, you could tax all the billionaires 80% and you wouldn't make a dent.
So here's the thing, though. Why not just tax the things that they buy? Yachts. We are now putting a tax. I'm quite sure there already is a luxury tax on yachts. But we're going to increase the value-added tax to a yacht. Those are things that people who have severe disposable income endeavor into. The biggest money pit of them all, a yacht.
To answer your question, why?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't bring any revenue.
That's the thing.
It didn't bring enough revenue.
Right. And so it's a slippery slope. So then it got me thinking, once you introduce a government program, they never go away.
It's just to get in the door, Tim. Then they're going to hit they're going to change it. And it's going to get in the door.
To Danny's point here, so I'm thinking as I'm pontificating at home one day about Boris and the Crypt Kickers and Blippi songs. By the way, excavator gets in your head? I ain't leaving. I'm an excavator is the song there's.
I'm an excavator?
Yeah. I'm an excavator. And the words are great. Like dirt separator, dirt investigator, like hole maker. Like it's a whole good rhyming going on in that song.
Rock on.
Yeah. And so once these things come about, they don't go away. And so I started thinking, how did income taxes start? Because it's an anti-American thing, right? Like it was, like I know, like with the whole adage, taxation without representation is kind of how we got started here.
Mhm.
But then we decided to tax with representatives, so it makes it okay. But the income tax kind of seemed to me at first, when I started thinking about it, very anti-capitalistic, very anti-American. Tim, who's going to pay for the services? Gosh darn it. Stop with your nonsense. And then I started doing some reading. And I thought, you know what? I don't need to handle this topic. Danny is the perfect person to dive in here. And how did income taxes start? What particular group was it meant for? And why are we all paying them now? And then I thought, interesting. This program was a billionaire's tax. In 25 years, how many of these programs are going to be rolled down to the people who can't afford them? Who's going to be paying it? So, Danny,
how many in 5 years?
So Danny, how did income tax start? Give me.
Okay, so when the Constitution was written and when they first brought it out, right, it wasn't known as the federal government and state governments. It was actually known as, quote, the general government and then state governments. And the state governments were supposed to have most of the power, and the general government was only supposed to do a few things.
Right.
But and they really only wanted taxes out of sales, certain things, tariffs, sales tax, a few things on commerce. They didn't want to have income tax. They thought it was, wrong. But in any event, the very first tax, a lot of people think that the very first tax was the 16th Amendment in 1913. And actually, the very first tax was the Revenue Act of 1861 for the Civil War, okay? Pay for the Civil War. And it was 3% above $800. Now, to add to now $800 back then was a lot of money. But yeah. And then the very next year, Tim, they passed the second Revenue Act of 1862, which is just 1 year later, okay? And that was 3% above $600, not $800. So they've already lowered it by like over 20%, the bar to where you qualify. And there's a 5% tax, additional 5% tax over $10,000. Okay, so they're already starting to do that now. That percentage amount was raised again in 1864. So from 1861 to 1864, 4 years, they kept raising the rate after they introduced the tax. Now, they did repeal it in 1872. So they did, once the Civil War was over, they said, okay, we don't need this anymore. And then they started the Congress was throwing around ideas about taxing rents and dividends and interest and all this other stuff. The problem was, so they had this Tariff Act of 1894 where they were going to tax property, your income and rent stuff. Okay. The problem is it was unconstitutional because the Constitution said if you impose a direct tax, you have to apportion it, meaning do it pro rata among the states based on their population, their census, because that's where you're going to raise the tax proportionally. In other words, Texas pays a lot more in taxes to the federal government than, say, Rhode Island, because we're a lot bigger state. Therefore, any taxes that the federal government raises, they've got to give back proportionally. Is
that happening?
No. That's what the original. That's what it originally said. So. And it even went to the Supreme Court in Pollock versus Farmer in 1895. Right. So you know what Congress did? Congress said, you know what? We need an amendment to unloosen the chains and let us do whatever the hell we want. So that's when they had the 16th Amendment, which was ratified in 1913. And it says Congress has the power to lay and collect taxes on income, whatever the source, meaning dividends, rents, interest, income, without apportionment among states and without regard to census or enumeration. So basically, it's game on. We can tax anything you got from any source you got, and we can take that money, and then we can do what we decide to do with it. So that was a pretty loose thing. Now, in 1913, the Revenue Act of 1913, after they passed the amendment, now it was game on, they could do it. So they passed this revenue bill, right? It was 1% above $3,000 in income. And then it was 6% surcharge above $500,000, which was a lot of money back then. So the income in 1913 started only at 1%. Where is it now? Now, by 1918, so from 1913 to 1918, that's 5 years, the top rate went up to 77%. Now that was over $1 million, and that's the equivalent of 16 million to 8 to 17 million today. But all I'm saying is that was a huge chunk, and the reason was they said we needed to finance World War II. Now the average tax, when you kind of take everybody, that was the marginal people way above $1 million. But the average tax on the rich was 15%. So even though they said it was going to be 1%, it averaged out to about 15%. Now, then they raised it to 58% in 1922. Then they brought it down to 25% in 25 and to 24 and 29. But guess what? We had the Great Depression. So what do we need to do, Tim, when we have a depression?
Raise taxes.
We need to tax the rich and pay for it. So they raised it to 63%, and it reached 94% in 1944, right around in World War II. Yeah. So if you were making over $200,000, which today's is like $3 million, okay, but $200,000, every dollar you earned on that, you'd only get 6 cents of that dollar.
Above 200,000.
Above, the marginal rates, it's still marginal, but all I'm saying is it's a graduated rate where it goes 58% up to 94%. So they're doing that. Now, you can say, well, when you go back and look at history, because sometimes they allow deductions, a lot of deductions, and they have a higher rate, and sometimes they don't give you many deductions and they have a lower rate. But really, the averages over the long time period have been around 30, 35, 40%, depending on the climate, for the higher people. But at the end of World War II, Congress introduced the payroll withholding and quarterly tax payment system. So companies now are going to just withhold on you and take your money and give you the net. So you don't steal it as much. You get used to that budgeting every 2 weeks, and you don't get. That's why I'm saying if you wrote it, you'd have people voting differently if they had to write a check twice a month.
It's easier to collect.
It's easier to collect, but they could still go debit your account, but then it'd still be a separate line item in your bank account. So
the government going right into people's bank accounts does feel wholly un-American.
Well, they're doing that with that $600 deal they want.
That's
but then also you got to make quarterly
that got
payments.
pulled from the bill.
Huh?
That got pulled.
That got pulled from the bill.
Good deal. Then that's because it was too controversial. And then the quarterly tax payments if you're self-employed. But the whole point is they go in with the story that we're only going to tax the uber rich, and it's only going to be 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%. It's going to be small. And now this unrealized gains tax, or this tax about taxing the rich that they're throwing out there. So just on appreciated property, whether it's a private equity deal, a stock, you're a real estate, whatever, you got to pay tax on. Yeah, it's called the billionaire's tax. That will vary. Once they get it in there, once they get it passed, they can go amend those bills and they can start lowering the thresholds. And it pretty soon, within 5 or 10 years, if you look at history, it's not out of the question that middle class starts paying an appreciation
What year
tax.
did the middle class start paying what was supposed to be the rich people tax? What year?
Well, it depends. I mean, it really started to be much more broad mainstream after World War II when we started having a robust economy again. Remember, you had some people in the Roaring '20s pay it because you had such a big boom, but those weren't really most of the rank and file people. But after World War II, you started having more people. You had a big, wide swath paying.
Because corporations are paying businesses where people go to earn this money. That individuals go to businesses to earn the money that they're paying the taxes on.
Right.
But the businesses, to generate that money and generate commerce, they're already paying money on that. They're already paying taxes on that money.
Right, and they just pass that on to the consumer. Corporate tax is a misnomer. The corporations don't pay the tax. You pay the tax because they higher prices, because otherwise they're out of business and more jobs are created.
And the government's getting their cut twice.
Right. Yeah. Now remember, you've got self-employment tax. So like I own Revere.
Right.
Okay. So there's a self-employment tax. So for my paycheck, I'm paying the whole 15.3. I'm paying my half and the company half, right? So it's not just your income tax rate. You still have other taxes you're paying. So the employer's paying half of that, and even the employees, they're paying some Social Security, Medicaid on top of the income tax.
But if this, it's just interesting that all of this, like the history of income tax, we need more spending, the biggest injection of liquidity into the economy we've ever seen, all for 2% growth. If you were landed from a planet, like wherever Don got his wizardry degree, like if you came down and you said beforehand,
Nibiru.
is that what?
Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. And you said, hey, we're gonna pump so much money into this economy. You're not going to believe what you see. Your thought would be that it would be the most robust place you'd ever, like the fake GDP numbers that China releases of 8%, 9%. You know, like you.
Well, it just confirms for me that Krugman is truly an idiot. Paul Krugman.
Okay,
printing doesn't work.
Okay, you have to set when you say things like that. You hadn't brought
Paul Krugman is a Nobel Prize winner for printing money and sticking it in, saying you got to go big and spend a ton of money.
Yes, it
doesn't work.
As the most esteemed graduate of the Connecticut School of Broadcasting upstairs from the CBS, Daniel, when you say it just proves Krugman's an idiot, and we had introduced Paul Krugman into this show, so you have to bring people into
our audience is pretty sophisticated. I just assumed, probably wrongly, that they would know who that is.
Well, they might,
right.
but they don't know that he's a Nobel laureate. So I'm sorry, you have
which,
to say
which doesn't mean much in the last 20 years.
Nobel.
You also can't mention Krugman without mentioning his most famous quote, which is the internet will have about the same impact on society as the fax machine.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
By the way, the fax machine, or the Mojo, as it was known, pretty revolutionary. Like that bridge between the internets there. Pretty. Tell you what.
Thanks, Mr. Krugman.
Yes. He's the father. I like Paul Krugman. I'm trying to picture what Paul Krugman looks like, but does he look like the top of a number 2 pencil as well? I don't think he does.
No, he actually looks a little bit like George Clooney.
Really?
With a beard.
Wow.
See if I can get a picture for the
not
video,
as
folks.
handsome. Not as handsome.
Well, you know what they say.
A very poor, a homeless man's George Clooney.
Like doesn't matter if you look like start conversing with Paul Krugman and his looks just fade. So I think all of that's interesting, and I don't think, and I haven't looked at the M2 supply. Nothing's changed. That there's been no tapering. There's been no slowing down here of the
They can't. I've been saying it all along. No way.
Yeah, they just they can't do it. I mean, if we need 1.85 trillion more injected, into the economy, I mean, that's absurd. Like that's really telling. And eventually, like Starbucks is paying $22 an hour, and
you talking about their new minimum wage announcement?
It's $22 an hour, right?
15 to 23 at the top end.
Yeah.
Not even 22. Yeah, you can do better than 22.
And I mean, that's not bad money. But the price,
they keep inflation going like it.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Like inflation keeps going up higher here. Like in that the tax to just get to work. The tax to just get to work for fuel, whether you take mass transit or not, all these prices are going up. The wage increases aren't outpacing the cost of goods right now. And so there's a story in it was the Journal this week that amongst all the other things that shortages cause, whether it's a toilet paper moment, people hear about shortages, so they go run out. So if you've done any kind of Halloween shopping, you know that the shelves have been bare for a while, whether it's costumes or decorations or anything. And they're just sitting right off the coast if they could just get them off the coast. Not the debate I'm having with you. There's nothing on the shelves. And whether people have panic bought or it's just they haven't panic bought, they just went shop normally and there was just nothing there. They bought it up or they started earlier. The same thing now is going to be happening with holiday goods, whether they're gifts or decorations. There's thought to be going to be a run on the traditional Christmas tree, which will be interesting to see play out. But all of that leads to the most. It's going to stop, Daniel, the most American thing about America: sales. We mark things up to take them down, and we feel good about it. And when any company ever tries to come in and say, we're not going to coupon, we're just going to price, we're going to price a fair price, you know what it does? It almost drives your company out of business. And you're like, Tim, what in God's name could you be talking about? Has anyone seen the business case study on JCPenney and that fella who came in from Apple and said, we're not discounting anymore. Discounts are eroding our margins. We're just going to price fairly. Well, you have a whole consumer base in this country, maybe unlike any other consumer base in the world, that is trained to look for the deal, whether it's a deal or not. Like they could actually put this price, like the new sale in automobiles, Daniel, isn't going to be a sale from the manufacturer. Manufacturers can't, like they do all that small talk at the end of an auto ad. It's going to be the dealer adjusted markup of 10,000, right? The dealer market adjusted markup is now discounted to 5,000 from 10,000, 50% off the dealer adjusted markup, right? It's still a freaking markup.
What a deal.
What a deal. Come down Sunday.
Damn you.
That's right.
Get your Kias now before they explode. And there's bombs going off in the background. And we're going to discount the new service fees. But it's still a service fee. But we're going to feel good about it because the American population needs a deal. Well, now, because of the supply chain issues that are happening, they're not going to discount. They don't have to. Like there's not going to be as many discounts. That when you have goods that people want. Now, this is Economics 101. If you have goods that people want, we call that demand. And there's a lack of supply. We actually call that just supply, Daniel. You don't have to discount. But if you have goods, and a lot of these goods, and nobody wants them, lack of demand, Daniel. We call this a surplus. At the Kinetic School of Broadcasting upstairs, when I took that adjunct.
Thank you, Tim, for clarifying supply and demand.
Yeah, when I took that adjunct economics course that they offered, you're going to get a ton of discounts. There's just not going to be that this year. And these supply chain issues, God bless if they go away or not. I don't know when they go away. Predicting when they go away, who the hell knows? You've highlighted the real issue with trucks, but all of
environmental,
all of this stuff costs more. We were joking. I can't remember. I think it was this week on the phone call. I had to ask, like, hey, I asked Don, the wizard of what is Don the wizard of? I forgot what Don.
He's financial wizardry.
Financial wizardry. I asked our financial wizard, where's he from? Where's Don from?
St. Augustine?
No,
Jim
like
Thorpe,
Nibiru?
Nibiru, yes. Yes, our wizard.
I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I gotta.
I think you're referring to Naboo from Star Wars Episode 1.
Okay, great. I'm glad we got clarification on that.
No, it's his sister. It's sister planet Nibiru.
Oh, I see.
Where do they teach the wizard school?
Hogwarts.
Yeah. Don went to Hogwarts, did he? He was just born on that planet that you mentioned that I can't pronounce.
Right.
And so I said, Don, is it true? Sorry, Professor Don. PD. I said, PD, is it true that this is the most expensive Thanksgiving in the history of Thanksgiving meals, potentially? And Don ran through it. And then I had to ask him, didn't we just have the cheapest 4th of July meal or something? And Don, what was the meal that they were touting at 4th of July that was so incredibly
4th of July hot dogs save 16 cents. No inflation.
I love it. 16 cents
Think
per
about
dog.
Think about all
Now that same hot dog is $4.
Think about all the new runs. This is not going to last. Everyone's talking about inflation. Like, remember back in the spring and summer talking about this. And
the transitory nature is
yes,
not proving
the
to be transitory.
And they come out with hot dogs are 16 cents less. the lips and whatever of a pig are 16. The most.
Got it. We got it.
Does anybody say a healthy hot dog? It's really the cheapest cuts of meat, right? Jim, where are you getting your hot dogs at? Look, generally these are the cheapest cuts. The cheapest cut of meat is six. It's not even. It's meat, but it's like a chicken nugget of meat. Like, is a chicken nugget meat? Like the McDonald's chicken nugget. Like, it's all white meat, but that's
particles, man.
It's chicken particles.
That's like pressed wood, the particle board.
Yes.
Wood, that's like the pressed.
Yes, they're chicken particle board wood.
Cartilage.
Yeah.
Cartilage.
That's a good point. Like, we're celebrating the cheapest cut of meat. It's cheaper. Great.
Yeah, 16 cents off the thing that will. Yeah. And they came out with a study. Didn't they come out with a study recently? Was it hot dogs or hamburgers? Hot dogs take a number of years off your life per number consumed. So 16 cents off the people killers, the population controllers. You got 16 cents off of those.
Right.
But you want highbrow turkey, gobble gobble. You are going to pay through the nose this year, or through the beak. And so,
I love it.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Did cigarettes
pretty
get
good.
cheaper too?
No, cigarette sales went up.
Yeah.
That's true. They've sold more cigarettes in the last 12 months than they have in a number of years.
Smoke them if you got them.
Yeah, and that is an interesting. Does that speak to the stress of the country? Does that speak to?
Well, part of it is because when people are at work, it's kind of it's hard to go downstairs and go smoke outside. You can't. Well, if you're staying at home because of COVID, there's no you don't have to worry about it.
I had this conversation with Tanya, my wife. For those of you new listeners, just the other day, I'm not making this up.
Tonita.
Spanish. Yeah, so thank you. Spanish Tanya is Tonita. I had this discussion with Tonita about cigarettes. And I don't know, I didn't come up from the article I'd read that there's been more cigarettes sold in the last year. I'm not sure how it came up. But I said, we might have been talking about something about smelling. And I was like, can you imagine, like, after coitus, that you just light up a heater? Like, you're like, I mean, I get a headache now when I smell any kind of cigarette smoke. And I used to smoke a daily cigar, a couple days cigar habit that I enjoyed.
Did you really?
Oh yeah, I enjoyed the
daily cigar.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And got a funny story about it. Not going to tell it here.
A man of coffee.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought, right?
Sorry, I didn't mean to birdwalk your story.
No, birdwalk it all you want. Beep beep. Yeah. And so I said, like, you smell like an ashtray. Oh, we were discussing. This is no joke. I'm
afraid to ask.
No, don't ask. I'm just going to tell you. I know exactly how it came about. The heater.
Mark this place. You might have to.
Yeah, right.
No, I swear to God, we are a cuss-free show, and we are an edit-free show because it costs me money. And so, attacks Daniel, attacks us swearing.
The jar, the tip jar.
They're getting everybody here.
Yes, and so I was taking my vitamins, and then I said, I never came out with the.
Is that what you? But never mind.
Oh, I was taking my vitamins, and I was
going to say Viagra, but
vitamin B.
Right.
I don't take vitamin B, but I take vitamin B. I do take a vitamin B. Anyway, so I'm taking my vitamins, and I said, it never came out with that business idea I had when I was like just an emerging teenager, which was the condiment, the after sex breath mint. And she said, why wouldn't you just get a roll of Lifesavers or those mints and put it next to your bed? I'm like, you're ruining the allure of my made-up product, the condiment, the after-sex breath mint. It would be packaged in there. And she goes, why wouldn't they just package a pack of cigarettes with the condom? That's how it came up. And that's when I then said, gosh, I've got an idea that's going to make your breath smell like, hey, let's stay together a little bit longer, maybe to develop a relationship so this one-night stand turns into a 3-day run, 72 hours only. And so
he just couldn't do it, could he? Couldn't keep a family show.
This is family. This is family. I'm talking about building a relationship with my product. Tanito, she wanted to put a pack of sick cancer causers in there. And I said, cowboy killers is what they refer to them in the Marine Corps. Yeah, Marlboros, cowboy killers. Yeah. And so I said, could you imagine lighting up? And then you just smell. Like, and nobody comes out smelling good after lighting a cigarette. There's like it's 1952.
Yeah,
but and she goes, well, Tim, everybody smells. So it was but like it smells like you lit a dumpster fire in your mouth and the ash heap is left over. Anyone who smoked a cigar or a cigarette knows what this mouthfeel is like. Oh, let's do that very personal act of kindness together again. See how I did that, Danny? Very personal act of kindness. Let's do that again because your mouth smells wonderful. Needless to say, my product trumped Tanya's product.
Dan, did we account for losing smokers in our latest budget as clients?
True.
That's a big
Those are
line
important
item.
numbers.
The truth is the state. I know the great state of Pennsylvania does not want you to stop smoking. It's like $8 to $9 a pack for a pack of six.
Right? Yeah, and 3 of it's taxed.
Yeah, like they cannot. They need you to increase. They need you to play the lottery more. That's why they come out with the different games. Every portion of these proceeds goes to senior citizens. Gamble your life away so seniors can live longer. That's the value proposition.
You can't win if you don't play.
Yeah. And you can't keep seniors alive if you don't play.
That's right.
So every day you don't play the Super Six, a senior dies.
Won't you think of the seniors?
Well, because the Social Security net that we created under the Johnson administration isn't enough.
Not cutting it.
Take the paycheck we just took money from and go apply it. Go buy a scratcher.
Right. Or cigarettes.
Or both.
Yeah. Both. You
Go
might
buy
need 'em.
both.
Yeah, right.
That's the product. A lottery ticket packaged with a pack of cigs.
People would buy that.
I think so.
Combo pack.
A combo
That's
pack.
right. Like $1 off or something.
And with that, we now transition to the soothing tones of Hunter Mozingo. What you got, Hunter?
I don't know how soothing they'll be today. I'm a little sick, so I apologize. But I've got 3 sectors actually that are really interesting that are just starting to kind of break out, particularly some names in there, as well as a sector I've covered a few times. So first, Tim, will you pull up NUE?
New core.
Nucor,
Steel is steel. The symbol X just reported what last night, 2 nights ago.
Yes.
Had themselves
There's a big gap up.
Yeah, had
Big
themselves a
gap up
quarter.
for X. That's what's boosting these, or at least part of what's boosting these names.
Mhm.
I think up about 15%.
Yeah. Okay, so you got
both, but you got really the same setup here on NUE and STLD. They're not identical, but they're very close. Getting through the moving averages there through the 50 on Nucor and on STLD, I believe, for the first time in a while, about a month or so, maybe a little bit more. So a change in character in that regard. And you also see the moving averages start to assimilate in the correct order there. The 8 above the 21 above the 50. You've got the 21 crossing through the 50 on STLD roughly today. You're very close to seeing that start to happen on NUE. So some good action for a sector that really had some spiky runs. And then after this most recent one for Nucor, for example, up to 130, pulled back roughly 35-40% from those highs almost, and is now starting to make a comeback. So steel, you mentioned X, gapping up. Also, a lesser known commodity space, perhaps lithium. LAC would be the first one to look at, Tim, here. This seems to be the strongest Lithium Americas Corp. This one is actually breaking out today over that 28.75 high from back in January, I believe. It's been acting really well, really since back in August. It started to come back to life a little bit. And then recently, towards the beginning of October, had a strong run. So LAC, LTHM is another name in the space here. Not as LAC is a miner of sorts. LTHM is more of a chemical side of the thing. I think Alex compared them to a refinery in the oil space. But this one also breaking out today. Hasn't been as strong as LAC recently, but both of these look really good. And then Tim, lastly, LIT
I was about to pull that
is
up,
an
yeah.
ETF here, but you can see it's actually down today while those two names are strong. So I would say those are the 2 strongest names in the space, in my opinion. You do have this ETF though that's a little bit more broad, not so wild with the swings and
Interesting
how
about
extended it is.
the Alex analogy, because as you were talking, Hunter, I think we should refer to the lithium space as new oil.
Yeah,
New
I
oil?
agree. There's
New oil.
in a lot of ways
And
it is like
because
that.
All the
Yeah.
electric vehicles,
all
all
the
the electric.
it's
technology has to go to-
everything is moving to battery.
That'd just be like renewable energies, right?
Well,
fossil fuels?
I think though the lithium space in particular is you have to mine it. You're really trading one.
It's a little like coal.
Oil's so
21st
dirty, right,
century.
Daniel? Hey, by the way, those same
Let's strip mine lithium.
That's
Right,
exactly
yeah.
those same vehicles you were getting that oil. Can you bring them over here to the lithium mine, please?
That's right.
Yeah, you're just trading one for the other, right? You're literally trading. And let me make an analogy for some of the slower folks that like to email me hate mail.
Oh God, coming out swinging this week on the.
I'm
They're
not
gonna
taking.
fill up that mailbox, Tim.
Yeah, watch out.
Yeah. Well, there's some of them. Some of them work for the letters UBS, and so let's break it down for those slow folks at UBS. So
You only got one hate mail last week, huh? Only
no,
one?
I'm going for two.
Just the one.
Going for two, and so, like I think that the you know what? I'm going to stop right there. I got the joke out.
Yeah,
but
true.
but for a lot of people, don't realize just what it takes to mine lithium and where they are mining lithium and their inability to potentially do it safely, cleanly and safely. It's the for the slower people. I'll make the joke.
Big corporate,
Right.
They don't care.
They don't care.
They act like they do, and they act like humanitarian.
For the slower folks at UBS out there, this is the akin to saying I'm giving up cigarettes but taking up chewing tobacco. That's the difference.
Would that be wrong?
I'm a skull man, Daniel. Cope. Got to dip the cope. I used to fly with guys that, no kidding, they'd light up a heater and then they'd put the dip in. It was a twofer.
Like just one after the other.
Man.
It was a
Nice.
twofer. Yeah, I'm like, I don't smoke cigarettes. I thought cigarettes. This is no joke. I thought cigarettes were like that is. There's no enjoyment to that. Like after the flight, like after the mission, I want to go back to the hangar and I want to just go. You know what?
We made it.
I'm
Yeah,
literally.
I'm good.
We made it. I'm decompressing. Let me just light up this stogie. It takes a little bit longer. One of my best friends, you know, Jeff. Yeah. Jeff would light a heater before the stogie to warm up, like he was doing calisthenics. Like like we'd step out of the hangar on a rack, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm going to warm up here before we get that cigar." I'm like, "Huh?"
Yeah.
He goes, "I'm going to smoke a cigarette." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, I got to warm them up, before I'm ready to do this." I'm like, all right, brother.
How is Jeff, and does he have gum disease?
No, he gave it all up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you get kids and you give all that stuff. You just like that's isn't important. Yeah. So he dipped too. Oh yeah, like you. My drug of choice is
Spicy
caffeine.
individual. Yeah,
My drug of
good
choice
for
is
you.
coffee.
Yeah.
And so with caffeine. Praying that they don't come out with some study that. Oh, by the way, I love your shirt today. It reminds me of
Thank you. This is my
cigar rolling shirt.
Guayavera.
It's good.
Wait, your Che Guevara?
Guayavera.
Yeah, that's it.
Che Guevara.
I like it. Black and white monochrome. Fits,
I don't think
fits
it's a
the
bad
Halloween
shirt.
Theme.
Oh,
This is custom made in San Antonio.
Whoa! I just noticed a detail.
Hold on.
Oh,
I can't
yes,
see.
I got it monogrammed.
Like your Wonder Woman
Okay.
cuffs.
Yeah.
You see that?
What is that?
Monogram.
Oh, fancy. Look at that monogram. Yeah.
Yeah, little monogram Che
I'm a
Guevara.
fan.
Wait, who is it?
I got an important place to go later. I got to look at
Where you going?
the football game.
Who?
My daughter's high school.
Wait, last week was homecoming. How'd that go with your?
That was a month ago.
Oh, shit.
Thanks for asking.
When did you wear the pink shirt? Was it last week?
Oh, there was
Couple
some. They had
weeks
another
ago.
game. Yeah.
Oh, they played twice. Okay, all right. Hunter, is that all you had, man?
Dan went into the shirt store and said, "Can you combine a vertical cummerbund with a white dress shirt?"
Wow, Don.
Woo, whoa! That is very unprofessorial. You need to hear. Hold on. Wow, can we edit that out?
You know what I really like? You know what I really like about these because they've got 4 pockets, not 2. They've got 2 at the bottom.
Is that what that is?
Do you have 4 pockets?
It is a 4. It's like a.
That is the
you
cargo
stand up
shorts
briefly?
of
and not only this, when they make them, they actually will make a little extra room either on the right or the left if you either like concealed carry or you want your phone. Like my iPhone, I want to be able
That's
to.
such bull. You have that extra
Can I
deep
see-
pocket for your peppers.
Can I see one of these
I
pockets?
have my peppers,
Do you
yes.
mind-
Huh?
do you mind standing? I'd like to see these on camera. Okay, yeah, there you go. 2 pockets. You got it. Get some room in there.
I just know, like Danny, Fashion
These are
forward.
very, very cool in Texas because Texas gets hot.
If 2 pockets were good, 4 are better.
Dang straight.
The economy of Daniel. If it's buy one get one free, it was a deal on pockets that day.
Look. You when I first came in, you said, "Oh, is that your cigar?"
The cigar rolling. Yeah.
Well, see, with the 4 pockets, I can keep my can of dip down here in one pocket, keep the cigarettes in the other, keep the mints in the other, and the cigars in the fourth.
Listen,
and I'm ready.
I'm not. People think guys are being mean today. No. Listen, I'm utilitarian. So like, I love the fact that I drive a minivan. I think the utility, like, it's got a lot of.
Don't say that too loud in Texas.
No. My wife has the issue with it. But
you know,
we know who wears the pants in the family.
I don't care. Like when you wear a skirt, there's a breeze that cools you off in the summer.
True.
Summers are hot here.
I'm going to get you a Stewart.
I would welcome that. If they were socially acceptable here, I'd wear
plaid.
They're not in the office though. We don't wear kilts.
We sure do. We just can't man sit.
Oh, no.
And so here's the thing though. The minivan is the 4-pocket shirt on wheels. Like it's got a bunch of pockets. Like it's got things to store things in. And I'm telling you, man,
The cargo shorts.
oh, it's the car. I dig me, dude. You need cargo shorts. Dude? The kids have a lot of gear.
It's definitely a Don lift, by the way. He said something
I
about
just
Dan
thought of something. Did
wearing
we
the
just
cargo shorts
hijack
and
Hunter's
shirts.
stock deal?
I thought he was done. Alex, what do you got down? Or were you? I'm sorry.
I do. I have some more.
Tim can't help himself, man.
His small little voice in the distance. I have more guys.
Yeah.
Can
I say he's feeling under the weather? Give him a break.
So I can't see him. Does he look under the weather? Oh,
He
Wow.
looks good.
Lisa,
It's just his voice.
I would hope you wouldn't be able to tell.
That's
more.
I'd like to talk about another stock, please. If you'd stop your idiocy.
Yeah.
Hunter hangs up his call and he goes, "Who's a-holes?"
That's right.
We need to get a sound, a mute button for Tim so that once he turns Hunter over, we just mute him
he's
until
off.
Hunter's done.
There's
Yeah.
a show on ESPN that does that. I think it's called Around the Horn.
Around the horn.
Is that what it
Around the
is?
horn.
Yeah. Like
Okay, anyway, Hunter, back
Go
to
ahead.
the stock.
I'm almost done. So
You better hurry
I've
before
covered
Tim
this
thinks
one
of
a
something
handful
else.
of times.
hate mail from mommy. By the way,
No, let him finish. Let him finish.
Holy, let
Go
him
ahead.
talk.
MOS.
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 sounds so soft in my
I
head.
need to turn him up. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Got
Well, I can't hear out of one of my ears, so that might be part of it. I feel like I'm talking really loud in my right ear, but I can't hear anything in my left.
Yeah.
So I apologize.
You sound beautiful.
But thank you. You got MOS and NTR. I've talked about these at exhaustion over the last month or so. Both of these have pulled back to the 21 or very close to it after breaking out. So keep an eye on this one. I would expect them to act as they should at the 21. It's been a leading sector. I would expect these to bounce. If they don't, it's a change in character. And then lastly, we've seen a big shift in solar. If you pull up ENPH, Tim, this thing's gone up about
This thing
30,
had an
40%
earnings
in the last.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing here is you've got day 3 higher high. So it's made a higher high. You got the gap day, a higher high the next day, and a higher high today. Granted, it's back to this 230 level, which is the previous high. But a massive, massive move for the actual individual stock here. But you've also got a strong move in TAN, the actual ETF, getting back up to roughly right around 100 and then pulling back a little bit over the course of today. I think got up to like 99.33. So this is extended. Personally, I'm just kind of waiting for an opportunity on either Enphase or TAN. You see a lot of this. I mean, lithium, those names that we looked at earlier, LAC, LTHM, they're a little bit extended. LIT extended. So there's a lot of stuff that has made big moves, and patience may prove to be valuable. But the market may continue to be strong and it may keep rolling. So
Hunter, I got a question. I got a question
Yeah.
for you, Hunter. So with TAN, would you use the Livermore rule? In other words, if it got above 100 and then held there, would that be your entry point, or how would you play that?
Personally, if it hadn't already gotten over 100 back at the beginning of the year, I would say that would be more of an area of interest. But for me, I'm looking for a possible pullback to the 8-day after this big gap up it had starting on Wednesday, I believe that is. So yeah, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it's essentially gone from roughly 88, 89 up to 100 over the last 3 days. So I would be more interested in starting a small position either off the 8-day if you could get a couple of days of rest, maybe a little flag type of action.
And then just one last
That
question.
Livermore rule doesn't really apply to ETFs. It's mostly just to individual stocks because the ETF, you're talking about a collection of a ton of them, and they reflect the value of the underlying holdings.
But won't that? Don't traders still trade off that? Those kind of rules?
Not for ETFs. It's really only applies to stocks. That rule.
Hunter, any of the stocks you mentioned, are they watch list ideas or do you own them or both?
NUE is owned in my tracking portfolio. NTR is owned in my tracking portfolio. The rest are on the watch list and at the top of the watch list, particularly LAC and ENPH.
Awesome. Okay, Alex, what you got, brother?
Yeah, man. Before I go over some names, I did a bonus stock video last night. That's on our YouTube channel. Make sure to check out
Wait a minute.
that. You can go there and press the big red subscribe button. Make sure you like, share. And it was a review last night. There was no new bonus stock added to that list, but I just went over what I'm currently holding in my tracking portfolio and what I actually cut. I took a name down off the bonus stock list.
Oh.
But anyways, I actually wanted to backtrack today. If you could pull up net, and I do not own this in my tracking portfolio, but if you remember, I was watching NET. Yeah, I was watching the leaps on this, and I had the 140 January 2023 calls, and I was buying them at $21. And unfortunately, you could see that pullback, that nasty shakeout it had a few weeks ago in September, and I sold the position. The mistake I want to go over with the viewers is sometimes you gotta keep watching that name. It's okay to buy something back, even if it's the same option. I should have been buying those back, and I made the mistake of not doing that. It's a learning lesson. I will always keep learning, and I'll probably learn to the day I die in this business because there's always something new. Those leaps now, it's stinging because they're up 240% from the cost. I think they're trading like at 64 or 65 a contract now. So you live and you learn, but it's a good valuable lesson I think that the viewers could appreciate. Sometimes you get shaken out, but it's okay to buy something back. So for today, what I'm watching, and I all the names that I'm about to mention, I do own in my tracking portfolio. I'm sitting on a firm. That name is I think a leader, and it's extended, but it is riding an 8 EMA, the 8 exponential moving average. The other name that I own in my tracking portfolio is Dutch Brothers, BROS. That one's a rocket, and I think it's at all-time highs today. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one's doing very well, and I've talked about that on the videos on the bonus stocks, on the fundamentals and the story of potential, a big runway there, like a Chipotle or a Starbucks when Starbucks first got started up. So a newer name that caught my eye today, and I actually did buy today in the tracking portfolio, is Toll Brothers, TOL. So this is consolidating right off some moving averages, some key moving averages. You can see how that cluster of the 21 EMA, 50-day, and that I think that's a 200-day you have there. Is that correct?
The gold
that
one.
Orange?
Yep.
The gold one, sorry. I think I'm a little bit colorblind, to be honest.
It could be
I
orange.
see orange, too.
Yeah, it might be orange.
I'd call it orange.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll call it gold just because of ASU.
It's gold. It's gold and orange.
But so I like to look at this. The Home Builders ITB, if you pull that up, they're starting to hook back up on the right side of this. It's been kind of in the doghouse for a while, but I think these rally back just based on the chart, what I'm seeing on this right side, the accumulation. And the thing about Toll Brothers too, that their 2023 estimates or 2022 estimates, excuse me, are pretty solid. They're up in the 40% range for the EPS growth. That's what I like to see. It has the sales compared to the other ones like DHI and stuff. I think Toll Brothers might have the best fundamentals out of the group. So that's what I'm in right now. That's what I'm focused on.
Fair enough. Is that all you got, brother?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Listen, folks, stock owners, market lovers, listen. If you're frustrated by the chicanery, that's a word, right?
Chicanery.
Chicanery. Yeah, chicanery on the show. Like, I want more stock. Look, every night, 5 nights a week, 6 nights a week. Well, 5 nights. If when it's 6 nights, Alex has a bonus video. You're getting just nothing but pure, unadulterated red meat, or for your vegans out there, mushroom caps. There's like a mushroom they make a burger out of. Anyway, you don't get any of this nonsense. Okay, that's my point. You get nothing but ticker symbols, and you get price projections, and you get when we would buy and sell on Sunday. So if you want that, here's the thing: stop listening to this show and being upset. This show was meant to celebrate life and making fun of the cathedral that people treat finance. They don't make it fun. They don't make it enjoyable. You don't learn anything except I'm going to sit there. Oh, speaking of which, I'm going to sit there in my suspense. I was about to paint the picture of
JJ Snuffington.
JJ Snuffington the third. But listen, I want to share something with you, stock nerds and market lovers. There, speaking of JJ Snuffington the third, I don't think he is this. There is if you want the show notes, they're on the YouTube page. For under the episode, Zach puts them in there. The Paul Tudor Jones documentary have you seen that? It's called Trader.
No,
it's from '87. It's 86 or 87. It was on PBS. And then Paul Tudor Jones spent just a tremendous amount of money trying to get it taken down. I don't know why, but I've watched it like a number of times. I just literally rewatched it. It's only an hour.
I want to watch that. Yeah.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, the link. I'll send you the link.
Yeah,
it's awesome. Like I just love it. Like it's 1987. It's Paul Tudor Jones, and I really dig Peter Boris. Peter Boris has, I think he's the fellow that I read. He came out, like strong opinions loosely held, like for the markets, and like we're going down, and it's like, well, okay, what happens if you don't? Like, what's your strong opinion loosely held? And then I think Peter Boris is also the person who says price before conviction, meaning you can have your convictions, but
price trumps everything.
Yeah, and just another way of saying
price is truth.
Yeah, yep. And so like Peter Boris is like, the more you do research on Peter Boris, I mean, Paul Tudor Jones is interesting in his own right, but Peter Boris is super interesting. And so this documentary features both of them. Paul Tudor Jones in the documentary is only 32. Peter Boris is 27. And so so anyone who discounts, and I bring those 2 points up because nobody does it here. Let me just be really clear. But I've heard the thought. No, Alex and Hunter could be young, and I think that's the most asinine thing in the world, to discount people on their youth. A lot of people don't realize that the discounting the youth is a big mistake. So, like our sovereign nation here, America, people don't realize that the wars are really executed and planned by people in their mid to late 20s, early 30s, like when I was flying missions in Iraq. Really fought hand-to-hand combat by kids in their late teens, early 20s. That's who secures your freedom in this country.
Well, but most billionaires are actually created in their 20s or early 30s, not when they're 50.
Yeah, and so like Alex and Hunter are featured predominantly on the show because they're smart.
Well, we did an exhaustive job shirts too before we ever hired.
I appreciate that. That's very nice of you to say. I just surround myself with wise people. How about that?
Oh, good answer, Alex. Good answer.
Wow. Well done.
I want to. So anyway, before anyone, so many jokes coming into the head here. Look, I know there's grumps in our audience, and I say that affectionately. Okay, you can't. But there's also people who love Alex and Hunter for what they do. So, but it's not about youth. It's about execution. And so when you watch this Paul Tudor, and I encourage everyone to watch it, it's fascinating. When you watch this Paul Tudor Jones documentary, just keep in mind, Paul Tudor Jones is 32. And inflation adjusted, that makes him 25. And Peter Boris is only 27. And so, and then watch it with those eyes. I think it's really fascinating like that. So that brings me now to Don. What you got, Don? Oh, and I'm sorry. And what I was about to say with red meat, Don does the 21 over 21. Sometimes you'll include the Dirty 30. You find Don's Friday night videos right here at Daily Market Insight. We never pull anything down. If you go to the bottom of the page,
that's the best recap of the week anywhere.
Yeah, and what you can do here is scroll back all the way to page 200. There's only 265 market days a year. Okay, we've been doing. There's more than 200 pages. We've been doing videos 5 nights a week since 2014. You can see everything. We don't pull them down. We sure as hell don't edit. So if you want to back test to see how we handle the market condition, what we were thinking on February 3rd of 2016, you can absolutely positively go in and back, see that. And then you want them delivered right to your inbox, subscribe. We don't spam you. It's a bit like we don't send you invitations to join the firm. We don't invite you to the Revere soiree or the Halloween costume party. We literally send you 6 videos a week. Don, go ahead.
Hunter just had his first anniversary with us, if I'm correct. Is that right? Wasn't it October 1st last year? You started, Hunter?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
happy anniversary, Hunter.
Did Danny send you the gift
steak knives
gift magazine to pick your 1 year gift out of?
No, I didn't need
never
one.
get one either.
That's standard.
I told him I want all the spice rub.
Oh my gosh, yes, Danny will send you spice rub.
I'll send you some spice rub, Hunter.
Yeah, and that gift guide too. You'll get that soon.
Yeah.
If you don't get it, let us know. Get on the podcast.
2121 list. Let's talk about. There'll be probably about 3 changes, so tune in for that. But I want to talk about 3 non-tech stocks that we added to the portfolio this week. Start off with an oil stock that had a fantastic earnings report and is strongly outperforming the oil patch itself over the past 2 days. Ticker SU.
You said SU, right?
SU.
Yeah, Sam U.
The cigarettes of the energy space.
Right. Massive volume, beautiful cup and handle breakout. I mean, that is pretty much a textbook cup and handle on the daily. And then follow through today, looking very good, holding up well relative to energy stocks, which are down today. Second one we added was a real estate development company that we've had our eye on for a while that has massive support at 100. We're waiting for earnings to get out of the way. CBRE. See the earnings shakeout that was yesterday come down just where we wanted it to. That gets out all of the sellers at the 100 level and then close back near the high of the day. Good numbers, good solid pattern too. And finally, Dexcom, DXCM. We owned this a while back. We're waiting for earnings. They reported earnings today. Another one where keep an eye on like the first hour and mark the highs and the lows to see if they can shake the algos can shake the buy stops and the sell stops, and it did that, and then it made a higher high right before we came on the air, or right as we were coming on the air, and we picked that up as it broke out above today's high. You can see the volume there and the nice price action on Dexcom. These are in the diabetes space.
5 minute up on that?
I could. Give me a second. Is Dexcom that's the insulin, right? That's
Yep.
Yes.
It's
glucose monitoring.
Yeah, thank you. It wasn't. I couldn't. It was glucose monitoring. 100,000%, right? I'll pull the 5 minute up. As we do that, there we go. Danny.
Wow.
Here's what I'm going to have you do, Danny. I'm going to have you give us the normal outro. Okay.
Okay.
Then you're going to come back to me, and I'm going to give traders and investors something they need to know heading into. Okay. So it's the normal outro.
Okay.
And then you're going to come back to me. So
do I have to?
Yeah, you do. And so for the people that listen all the way through the credits, we're going to give them a bonus. So they listen all the way through the credits.
Bonus stock?
Something.
Bonus crypto?
Something.
Bonus crypto? Come on.
No.
Can't be a bonus bond with these interest rates. All right, folks, listen, if you liked what you heard, please tell a friend, tell a neighbor. Just send them to revereasset.com, and they can sign up. They can hit subscribe, and they'll get this wonderful podcast directly in their inbox once a week when we produce it. And they will get our daily market insight video 5 nights a week anytime that the market is open. We won't spam them or reach out to them in any way. It's up to them to reach out to us. You can email any of us at dan@revereasset.com, Don at Revere Asset, Tim at Revere Asset, Hunter or Alex at Revere Asset. And you can always, always, always call us at 855 Real Wealth.
A couple of things. I'm going to critique myself on the show here before I give the chart. One, next Halloween, can we all mark this on the calendar, please? Next Halloween, Don should dress up as Randy Macho Man Savage and give all his answers in Randy Macho Man Savage's voice. That's a missed opportunity on my part, and I'm really bummed that I didn't think of it till literally while you were talking.
Oh yeah, Reazor, that's a great idea. I can't believe you didn't come up with that.
Like now, can you do
You're
that?
always producing after the fact.
I know. I'm bummed about it. That's why I didn't graduate the top of my class. I second the top. Right. Don, can you just do Dexcom, please?
2 people in the class
talking to Mean Gene Okerlund.
Oh yeah, Gene. Let me tell you, you might have to get some glucose monitoring. I see you a little thick through the belly there, Mean Gene.
That's what I'm telling you. And like me, I don't think Gene Okerlund's on this earth anymore. Be like, Randy Macho Man Savage, are you going to be taking on Hulk Hogan at Dexcom Mania 3? And like it was like he was a small in stature was Gene Okerlund.
I don't think he is around anymore.
Yeah,
Rest in peace.
I know,
that guy
man.
some quality television.
Yeah, he was shorter,
yeah.
But he was the best. Like he would project and orate. And he got the best out of those wrestlers. And by the way, if you Google some conversations of Randy Macho Man, of Mean Gene Okerlund, specifically on the Dan Lebertard show towards the end of his life, he had the best Andre the Giant drinking stories. Like how much Andre the Giant could consume alcoholically. That's a word.
There's that great documentary on HBO about Andre.
Oh, there is.
He's in there. Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
I
just watched that this week. That was amazing.
Yeah. Good stuff.
So, missed opportunity. Quite sure we can figure out a way to get Randy Macho Man back for Thanksgiving because I think that would be funny.
It's okay if we don't.
So here's the thing, folks.
Cornucopia! It's a horn of plenty!
Oh, don't egg him on.
It's a horn of plenty. That's funny. Miss Elizabeth and the Horn of Plenty. Sounds like a book that like they would write about the traveler. They landed on Hulk Rock, and
that's right. Nibiru.
Yes, on the Nibiru. That was one of the ships. The Santa Maria, the Pinta, and the Nibiru, right? Getting to Hulk Rock. Yeah. And British Bulldog Lane. Okay, here we go. So, look, S&Ps, this is an amazing day in the markets. Like, you had two of the biggest stocks in the S&Ps, not hit their numbers, right? Didn't hit a little sticky wicket there with that Amazon. And the markets turned positive, right? That's strength.
It is
strength.
It's actually pulling the mean up versus prices coming down.
Yeah. And it's super fascinating day in the markets. Now, I'm about to be a wet blanket. Okay? Just giving that disclaimer here. Some people, I didn't even get to the story that you can only talk bullishly about the markets. Like there's a story.
Get the bear out.
Yeah, like there's only been like 3 weeks of it sitting on this. Like you only talk it to really make money in on YouTube. You can only talk. We'll do it next week. You can only talk bullishly. You cannot tell what you're seeing. This today with the dollar is really important. Okay, look at your charts, folks. So yesterday, the dollar gets crushed on that GDP number, okay? Mm-hmm. This candle is akin to this candle on the left-hand, the lower left-hand side of your chart, okay? That is like 614, 615, okay? And when you see big candles with the dollar, like here's another one. And I'm gonna highlight some dates for you, okay? So like that's 929, 916-ish, let's go back here to 616, okay? Let me just show you what happens here. So with the S&Ps, I talked about 916. That's 924. Here's 917, 916. And so what did S&Ps do? Like, it's not instantaneous, but that dollar reached up at that spike candle, and then they pull back. And
markets pull back.
Yeah, markets pull back. Not. I actually don't think believe it or not, I'm not like I don't think the world's falling down in a handbasket. I think you're going to get a reversion, and I think you're going to want to buy that signal. Like if you were to get a reversion, not just a consolidation, like just buy that when it consolidates and then moves up. But if you do get a reversion, I think that let the people who buy that tippy top, let them get obliterated, and then you step in and buy. I think you're going to have a great they're not going to let this market. They keep, as you've said multiple times, the Fed cannot let the market fall.
Right.
Jay Powell wants to keep his job.
And the other thing is, with bond yields so low,
Right.
where are you going to put money?
So that's nice.
But the market's been continuing going up, and it's pulling the mean up. So there's two ways you can, quote, revert to the mean.
Right.
Prices can come down to the mean, or prices can pull the mean up.
Yep. So you had that 916 drop. There's the 929 drop. And these aren't huge drops, but they do shake the tree. Where's that 616? So you get that big spike candle, and then you get that power drive lower just for a couple days. You shouldn't be shocked. I haven't seen this in the dollar. Like this kind of action here where it's like like that's a slingshot. And the one thing the market has proven is that, and you can go back and look at this, that the dollar's not going to rise. Like markets aren't going to rise in conjunction here with the dollar. Not in this environment.
I think a lot of the dollar movement right now has to do with belief or not of the bills being passed in Congress. What they're hanging on every way. Does it look like it's going to be passed? Dollar gets weaker. Hey, it looks like it's falling apart. Dollar gets stronger.
Like Alex was making, he was noticing, hey, can you pull that 5 minute up at Dexcom? That's this move it's up 1%. That's not that's a gigantic move for this
for a dollar.
Yeah, that's a huge.
But
move.
Here's the thing: the dollar's up 1%, and the markets are green. That
relationship isn't sustainable. That's what I was trying to point out.
Right.
So it doesn't mean we're going down,
or that correlation breaks down. One or the other.
Yeah,
doesn't have to.
It could. So, like in the realm of possibilities, it could. If you said, Tim, what's your opinion? I don't think it does break down here.
Like you said before, price is truth.
Yeah, and
you got to go on price. Nothing else matters.
And so the dollar's either going to revert back, like this is just a 1 day spike, and it's going to revert back, and markets are going to coalesce and then go higher, or you're going to see what you saw earlier this year. That's been the pattern. Big candle spikes.
Right. Can you show that on an ATR chart, please, Tim?
Oh yeah, sure. Great. The
average true range.
The
dollar, yeah.
Yeah. So you came down to -1 ATR, and now you're at +1 ATR. You're not extended. That's what you take away from this ATR. You're not extended. It's not like a spike into the 3 ATR here or a spike over here on the left hand side of your chart.
The thing that concerns me about this also is that makes yesterday a failed breakdown. You can see those four bars, about 4 to 6 bars to the right, that area. It broke below those, and there's a saying on Wall Street: from failed moves come fast moves in the other direction. So today is absolutely, with the dollar being up and the markets being up, that is the opposite of what the correlation typically is, and this is something that Hunter and Alex and I were texting about this morning too. It's definitely something we're keeping an eye on.
Yeah, and I think folks at home want to watch this relationship develop, because if you were to get a fast move 3 ATR, you're probably going to see that effect, especially in the international type stocks, because it makes their goods worth. So with that, Daniel,
folks, we'll talk to you next week on Your Money.